Welcome to Colorado Mesa University's Introduction to Faculty's Legal Obligation to Accommodations, presented by Educational Access Services. Faculty are bound to the Americans with Disability Act or ADA and Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. Both laws protect individuals with disabilities, and in the university setting, that means equal opportunity must be given to students with disabilities at CMU. ADA defines disability as a person who has one of the following: a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities, or has a history or record of a physical or mental impairment that substantially limited one or more major life activities, or as regarded as having an impairment whether the person has the impairment or not. When in doubt, use your resources and ask the ADA coordinator. So what does this legal protection look like in your classroom? We will dive into a few elements of the law that you should familiarize yourself when considering accessibility in the classroom, including integration, effective communication, building accessibility, program accessibility, and web accessibility. Integration simply means that a person with a disability should be included to the maximum extent possible for that person. In practice, this means program eligibility requirements cannot screen out people with a disability intentionally or unintentionally. All essential requirements should be necessary to participate in the program, service, or activity. Legitimate safety qualifications based on objective assessment of actual risks are considered essential. For example, you need to know how to swim to participate in scuba diving. Faculty should not question students about disabilities or ask specific disability-related questions. Service animals must be allowed in the classroom. Allergies and fear of dogs are not valid reasons for denying the service animal access to the classroom. Faculty may ask only two questions. Is the dog a service animal required because of a disability? And what work or task has the dog been trained to perform? If concerns arise regarding the dog's observed out-of-control behavior, is not housebroken, or if the dog's behavior poses a direct threat, faculty may ask the service animal to be removed from the classroom and should contact the ADA coordinator. Effective communication means that the communication, whether that is speaking, listening, reading, or writing, between faculty and the student with a disability must be as effective as communication with others. In practice, this means allowing for auxiliary aids and services and working with the student that has a hearing, vision, or speaking disability and EAS to ensure effective communication. Auxiliary aids might look like an assistive speech device, microphones for hearing aids, an ASL interpreter, real-time transcription services, open and closed captioning, magnification software, note takers, or audio recordings. You do not need to be an expert in these technologies, but you are expected to ensure effective communication with all students by collaborating with your resources like EAS. Building accessibility means ensuring your classroom's physical space can be navigated by someone with a disability while it is full of students. Students in wheelchairs need to be able to enter the classroom, navigate to an equitable spot of their choosing in the front or back, and need to be able to exit in case of an emergency. Be aware of how full your classroom is, what desks are being used, and where students leave backpacks, as all of these things can become barriers for a student with a disability. Program accessibility includes physical and virtual space access. Online content that is part of your teaching, such as materials found in D2L, like homework, textbooks, articles, videos, etc., must be accessible for students with disabilities. This can mean including accurate captions on all videos, transcripts for podcasts, alternative text for all non-text content like images, using plain language, and appropriate structures in documents. These are just some of the accessibility things to consider when lecturing in the classroom, providing learning materials online, or assessing students' knowledge. You can learn more about making your course accessible by contacting your ADA coordinator or going to the Educational Access Services faculty page for Universal Design. Web accessibility is determined based on the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG, and is part of program accessibility since so much learning content is delivered digitally. WCAG uses the acronym POUR to help categorize the areas of accessibility need: perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. Digital content needs to be usable with screen readers and have appropriate color contrasts without a reliance on color to communicate information. Digital content that has audio components needs to have an equivalent textual element. There should be clear instructions for navigating content that uses structure and appropriate labels. Learn more about web accessibility tools and expectations from your ADA coordinator or by visiting the EAS faculty page. So, how do you meet these legal obligations to accessibility? First, you are aware of your surroundings, aware of your students, aware of your responsibilities. Second, you practice universal design principles. Third, you ensure students' accommodations are available to be used when requested. And remember, you are not alone in meeting these obligations, as Educational Access Services is here to help you with every step from education to implementation. Thank you for watching this video covering your legal obligations for students with disabilities. You can learn more by visiting Educational Access Services website or reaching out to the ADA coordinator.